Let's now go back to our conversation with Professor Sipho Seepe on the issues that plague UCT. You'd know that Professor, among others, is a consultant for higher education. Professor, as I had said a bit earlier, that the issues here have still not been resolved. Many had watched with keen interest to see this matter to finality, because when Professor Phakeng took over, when she was appointed, there was a lot of celebration across racial lines. This was a first. She's black, she's female, she's fairly young. So a lot of transformation was taking place at the institution, and now the abrupt exit. What have you made of the whole situation and the manner in which it was handled?
Well, there's no doubt that UCT has mishandled this matter. Normally, these issues are issues that are normally resolved properly without them attracting such media attention and dividing the campus both in terms of race and gender. But what we should also indicate is that Vice-Chancellors are appointed on a contract, and this is a usually 5-year contract, and you come and go. What can be said positively about her is that she finished her first term without any problem. And also it took the Senate of the university, which is made of largely academics, about 78% that endorsed her second tenure. But things went wayward when it came to her relationship with council, which is something that she pointed out. And one must understand that the Senate is an academic space concerned about issues of the academic project and the intellectual project of the university. So she can walk away to say, at least that part was endorsed when I got my second term. And with council, we also know it is largely a political space with a number of sectional interests. And she indicated that things were not always working well with council. Actually, she pointed out that there was always an opposition and a resistance. And that often comes with when you have a very strong leader, especially a leader who is actually decisive, that you cannot have people who are decisive without irritating some people. And she may have actually done that. But what she did yesterday in the interview was to point out that this is just one incident in her life. It is an end of a tenure, but it's not an end of a career. Mm-hmm. But in the end, he has to deal with what appears to be, what is a fallout, that you have a very vivacious woman, a scholar in her own right, and then she has to exit that way. Mm-hmm. And she made it very clear why she is exiting, that it is not because she feels that there was any wrong, but she felt that for the sake of her mental health and also for the reputation of the university, because if it goes to a battle, both sides may end up not in a good state. So it is better for her to leave. But she understands that fully well, because it is not about the correctness of the council or the university. It's about whose resources will be used in this battle royale.
Mm-hmm. But initial reports had stated that she was somebody that was willing to walk away, but was insisting on the Judge Mpati inquiry continuing to clear her name. Now, if you say this decision to walk away now at least leaves her reputation intact and that of the university, would some not differ and say there's actually a cloud hanging on both right now, that we're none the wiser as to who in fact was the aggressor, or what exactly are the problems at the university?
Well, the problems of the university will remain. What is most important for her is what she does with herself from then on. Remember, universities, especially those that are going through transformation, will always have these challenges. And what she was able to say is to say, if you look at my record, there were less protests by students, because when it comes to transformation, students are saying we feel unwelcome. And she says that during the tenure, she made sure that she does not call the police. There's the less strikes. She does not go to court to interdict the students, but she engages the primary, what you call it, clients of the university, which are students. So she could say, I walk away having stabilized at least that part. But my difference is simply with council, which is largely a political space. And she also pointed out that, of course, these things happened. There were people who were not happy with the leadership. but the majority of at least academics in Senate supported her approach and also her decisiveness, pushing the transformation agenda. But we should also understand that setbacks happen. But what she found very problematic, which is also what made her to decide to go, is when you have a university unleashing all resources on you as an individual. I mean, she raised the issue of why do you appoint 3 judges to look at this matter? Even murderers are not subjected to having 3 judges. But that seems to give an impression that those who were running the machinery of the institution wanted to make sure that she's gone. So when you read that and understanding that if she has to fight this, she will have to have deep pockets or infinite resources, because you don't win easily against institutions. They can always, even when they lose, as she also pointed out, that she might actually be facing a kangaroo court. And if it's a kangaroo court, means that she will have to appeal. But appeal means that you have to put your money in it. The university, those who are prosecuting on behalf of the university are using the institutional money. So it is a case of, I don't have resources, so what I'll do, it'd be better for me to walk with my head high and then claim the things that I have succeeded in doing. And that's all she could do in the current situation.
Professor, before I let you go, I wanted us to touch on the safety issues at a number of universities. You've seen what has happened at Fort Hare with Professor Vice-Chancellor Sakela Buhlungu, particularly his bodyguard losing his life. What do you think would be a lasting solution here? Because the developments are there will be police officers at these institutions, but is it not better perhaps maybe to centralize procurement outside of these universities, because it's even happening at FET colleges?
The problem with centralizing it is that we've seen it happen also in government. It does not mean that the issue of corruption will go. What we need to understand is that our society is a sick society. The social fabric is where the problem is. If you have a society that turns a blind eye to corruption, to hooliganism, to crime, then you'll find that those elements will visit the universities, because universities are social extension of society. They are social institutions. So the very same people, it's the same as with racism. You have a society that is racist, and you'll find that the universities will also have to deal with racism, with that tribalism, with issues of misogyny. And so the challenge that we have in society will find expression in social institutions like universities. So if there is a corruption in society or tolerance of corruption, whether it's at the central level, it does not mean it's not going to happen. And when it happens at the central level, then the effects and the impact will be more devastating. We've seen with the personal protective equipment, the billions that were wasted. So I think what we need to do is to start talking about the state of the nation, which is a nation that is hopeless, a nation that tolerates corruption and lawlessness, that tolerates, and it has to do with also conditions of poverty, that until we address these challenges, until we address also the racial challenges that we face, because we have not wanted to talk about the issue of race in this country, but it is what the Black professionals face. And Mamokgethi Phakeng would also indicate that part of the issues that it had to do with race, even though she tried to underplay it. But there is no doubt that the strong Black women and Black people find themselves always a challenge. What was worse with her is for even some of the people in the university to challenge her own qualifications, even when she qualified in this country at the University of Witwatersrand.
Professor, thank you very much for your insights this morning. That was Professor Sipho Seepe, a higher education consultant. More news on the other side of this break. Do stay with us.